This program is designed to provide general information with regards to the subject matters covered. This information is given with the understanding that neither the hosts, guests, sponsors, or station are engaged in rendering any specific and personal, medical, financial, legal, counseling, professional service, or any advice. You should seek the services of competent professionals before applying or trying any suggested ideas. The information contained in this podcast is intended for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for individual professional legal advice. The podcast information was carefully compiled from vetted sources and references. However, R.O.S.E Resources Outreach to Safeguard the Elderly cannot guarantee that you will not fall victim to a scam. Let's talk about scams. It's the must-listen show for anyone who wants to protect themselves and their loved ones from scams. Every Tuesday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time on K4HD Radio, Joyce Petrowski, founder of R.O.S E, and her guests will provide valuable insights and practical tips on how to recognize and protect yourself from scams. And now, here is your host, Joyce Petrowski.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Let's Talk About Scams. I am Brian Watson, Community Outreach Specialist for R.O.S E, and I am filling in for Joyce today. Thank you for joining us. Hopefully you will enjoy today's show. We are going to go a little bit old school. We're not talking technology today like we normally talk about. We're talking about a scam that's a little bit old school, and you'll find out why really quickly. So I work part-time for R.O.S E, and I've had the privilege of working for R.O.S E for the last 2 years. One of my other part-time jobs is I teach a course at the University of Arizona in Tucson, Arizona. The course is called White Collar Crime. It's a lot of fun. I have amazing students. I've taught the course twice. And in 2024, I brought in a guest speaker named Paige Hansen, and Paige is a cybersecurity expert. She has a very big web presence. She does a lot of educational videos, very entertaining, very smart person. And I brought Paige in to speak to my class at the U of A. And by the way, Paige also happens to be on the advisory committee for R.O.S E. So that's how I met her in the first place. And at this class at U of A, I bring in a guest every single week because, I don't want my students to have to listen to me, 2 days a week. I like to bring in a guest who knows more about a subject than I do. So Paige came in to the class and she spoke about scams and cyber and protecting yourself and a lot of really great tips, especially, smartphones, privacy settings and things like that. And then she did a demonstration where she had some checks and she cut them up and she set up some stations around the classroom and with little containers. And each container, she poured a little bit of acetone, basically another name for nail polish remover. And she had the students write on the checks with a couple of different types of pens. And the students could put the checks inside the acetone and then let them sit for a while. And it was really cool demonstration because one, anytime you can do a hands-on demonstration in a classroom, it always makes things better. But this is what happened. We put the checks inside the acetone, and on some of the checks, the ink just started to dissipate and go into the acetone and disappear. And then on some of the checks, the ink stayed. What was the difference? Well, if you just use regular ballpoint pen ink, that ink is dissolved by the acetone and disappears. And criminals do this because what they do is they can get a check and they'll steal it out of the mail or some other place. They'll put the check inside the acetone. Everything will dissolve, and then they'll change the payee. So instead of writing a check to a utility company or to a family member, they can write the check to themselves. They can also change the dollar amount. But this was interesting as well. The ink from the gel pens did not dissolve. It maintained its integrity, which was really interesting. And it was news to me. And again, that's why I bring smart people into my class at the University of Arizona. So what makes gel ink different? The ink in gel pens actually permeates the fibers of a paper. It goes down into it and is more resistant to chemicals that erase ink compared to a traditional ballpoint pen. And so, what is a gel pen? Well, here's one right here. It looks just like a regular pen. You can buy it at the store. It writes the same way, but it actually says gel ink. It's just it's a better type of ink. It's got the properties that will, like I said, permeate the fibers. Here's a pack that I used in the classroom this past year when I did the similar demonstration. So if you use gel pens, it offers an extra layer of defense against what's called check washing. Check washing is when criminals take a check, put it in acetone, or there's other chemicals that'll work as well, and that they try to change, the alter the check, changing the payee or changing the dollar amount. So it works. So my recommendation today is use gel pens when you write checks. Now, some of you out there in radio/podcast land might say, well, I do everything online now. I don't write any more checks. Checks have gone the way of the dodo bird. Well, that's true. Most of my payments I do through auto payments through the electric company and the water company and garbage pickup. And when I write my credit card, pay my credit card bill. Absolutely. And we want people to use auto payments. But even with all these automatic withdrawals that are set up, I end up writing 1 or 2 checks a month. So we're still putting our personal information out there and exposing ourselves. So, how big of a problem is check washing? FBI and the Postal Inspection Service have put out warnings recently that check fraud is on the rise. FinCEN, which is the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, reports that the average loss on a check fraud in the United States on just a single transaction is $45,000. So the criminals, they steal your checks, they alter it, and they take this money, and it causes all kinds of headaches. And then you have to deal with your bank, and maybe you'll get your money back, maybe you won't. It all depends. But at R.O.S E, we're in the prevention business. We want to reduce the ways that we are susceptible to being scammed. And this is one of them. And like I said, it's an old school technique. This is not modern technology. This is a scam that's been going around for a long time, but all good scams and all good crimes come around. They repeat themselves, and we're seeing this. So we're in the prevention business at R.O.S E, and that means we like to offer some good advice. So here's some tips as it relates to checks that I want to share with everyone today. So first of all, in your checkbook, keep a gel pen in your checkbook that's dedicated to writing checks. I've even put a label on my pen. It says gel pen. I got my label maker out and I've labeled my gel pen as a gel pen because sometimes they actually don't say it. They'll say it on the packaging, but they won't say it on the pen. But this way, I know this is a gel pen. So when I write checks, I know I'm using a gel pen. And remember, you can get gel pens wherever you buy regular pens. Office supply store, big box store, grocery store. Gel pens cost a little bit more, but we're not talking that much more. It's worth the extra cost if they do cost more. And when it comes to mail, we recommend not putting your outgoing mail in the mailbox in front of your house. A lot of times we have that little red flag you can put up, and so the mail carrier knows that you have some outgoing mail. Don't do that. It's basically telling criminals, hey, there's mail in here, come steal it. And someone could drive by, they could walk by, open up your mailbox, grab your mail, cut it open real quick. They're looking for checks, or they're looking for cash. But don't put your mail in that outgoing mailbox. If you live in a community with one of those shared mailboxes, a lot of times they have a secure slot where you can put your mail in. That's a good place as well. Um, I like to go to the post office and drop off my mail. But when I go to the post office, I don't use the blue boxes. Why? Well, the people drop mail in the blue big mailboxes, but criminals know that as well. And what they'll do is they will go fishing for mail. And this is fishing, the conventional spelling, FISHING. They will literally take a string with something sticky at the end and drop it in there and try to pull out mail. What are they looking for? They're looking for checks. So the worst time to use those blue mailboxes is after hours or on the weekends, because that mail could be sitting there overnight, unsupervised in the dark. Um, the only time I ever use those blue mailboxes is during the day when I know they're going to be picked up and there's traffic around. But you know what's even better? Go inside, park your car, go inside the mailbox, the post office, and drop it in the dedicated slot. That extra time eliminates the possibility of scammers stealing stuff out of the blue mailboxes. Now, what if you say, "Hey, you know what? These blue mailboxes are so convenient. I can drive right up to them. I don't move real quick anymore. It's a hassle to get out of the car. I use a cane or a walker or a wheelchair. I'm just going to use the blue mailboxes." Yeah, you can, but let's figure out another way to get that mail inside. How about you ask someone? You know what? Um, sometimes we don't like to bother people, but I have learned that people like to help people, you know? Um, so why not ask a neighbor, a family member, a friend, and say, "Hey, are you running errands today? Could you take these to the post office on your way?" Maybe they're going to the post office as well. I was on vacation this summer and I was at a Target store, and a lady came up to me and said, "Excuse me, sir, can you help me get something?" And she needed something on the top row at Target, or the top shelf. And I'll tell you what, it made my day when someone asked for help, as simple as getting something on the top shelf at Target. Like, I grew up as a short kid. I was a late bloomer. I was always the shortest kid in my class. So now that I'm 5'9" and I can reach the top shelf, um, I love helping people that are shorter than me. So you know what? It made my day to help someone. She was so appreciative. Same thing. You're at the post office parking lot and you see someone, say, "Hey, could you take these inside?" You will make someone's day. Um, and so after seeing this demonstration on check washing, I only use gel pens now. Um, it's it's just one of the common sense things that we can do to make scamming harder. It's not going to prevent you from ever having your check scammed, but or stolen and altered. But you know what? It's just one little thing that you can do. Now, it was brought up to me, and we had a discussion at our last R.O.S.E board meeting. You know, you could use a gel pen and still be victimized. You know why? Because on our checks, everything's on those checks. It's got the routing number of our bank, and it's got our bank account numbers. There's another crime out there called check writing, where the fraudsters will actually buy check writing software. This is a legitimate software that businesses use to write checks, and they will basically steal your routing number and your bank account number that are printed at the bottom of the checks. In this case, the gel ink doesn't matter. So, there's the scammers always have a way around. So to avoid the check writing scam by the scammers, um, we recommend using online banking, which a lot of you do. Now, of course, there's a lot of security measures to consider when you do online banking, and that'll have to just be a discussion for another day. But, just to review today, buy pens that say gel ink, put a little label on there that says gel pens, keep it in your checkbook, and then when you do have to mail checks, make sure it's somewhere secure, a community mailbox that has a drop slot, or take it inside the post office. And if you do that, common sense tips you're following, you're probably going to protect yourself. So roseadvocacy.org is our website. We are trying to get 1,000 people on our mailing list. We're getting close. So please go to roseadvocacy.org. Right on the front page, you can sign up for our monthly mailing list. We put out a nice email once a month with all kinds of great ideas and tips on how to protect yourself. Sign up your family members, your friends, your neighbors. These are good conversation starters. And then we also do a thing on Tuesday mornings with a little short tip, something super short, as simple as use a gel pen or something similar like that. We want to avoid people from getting scammed in any sort of way. And we're in the prevention business, and we would love to put ourselves out of business by nobody ever getting scammed. But unfortunately, we live in a world where there's scammers everywhere trying to take our money. And we just want to prepare people, toughen you up, let you be prepared, not live scared. But that's what we do at R.O.S.E. And then tell people to watch our podcast, share this link with them. I kept mine here at, we're talking less than 20 minutes. Everyone's got 20 minutes where they can learn about gel pens. So if you know somebody that writes checks, hint, hint, that's everyone you know, share this link about gel pens and tell them about it. Because that's how we stop scammers, is by just sharing information, looking out for the most vulnerable, helping each other out, and not being afraid to talk about scams. All right. Well, thanks for listening today. I'm Brian Watson with R.O.S.E. Joyce Petrowski will be back next week on Let's Talk About Scams. Have a great day.
Well, that's all the knowledge for this episode. Tune in every Tuesday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time on K4HD Radio at k4hd.com as Joyce explores a variety of knowledge so you have the power to make scam protection your healthy habit. And until then, feel free to reach out to Joyce and let's talk about scams.